Okay, we will talk about XPaths and different things, variable IDs and all. Okay, now the thing is, if I look at this example, the Facebook example, if I run the code, right, the browser, whatever is the browser, say the Mozilla browser will open, or even say the Chrome, if I change this to Chrome and run this, Chrome will open, fine, and execute the script. Okay, fine, you see that it's executing. Now every time you will not get ID for an element. Okay, over here I took a very easy example so that the elements could have an ID or something, but every time you will not get this ID or name. Not all the elements on the web page they have ID or name. So how do you go and identify them on the web page? Okay, well, it's easy. We identify them with the help of XPaths in that case. Fine. This Facebook page is opening differently. Just a minute. Yeah. So what we do is that we identify them with the help of XPath in case you don't get ID or something. For example, this text. Facebook helps you connect, share with people in your life. If you right click and inspect this element, out here you see this is the text. This text is inside a division. This division has this particular class. Fine, but this division has got no ID. Fine, this division has got no ID. So obviously, or name, so you cannot identify the element out here. So over here we will have to use XPath. Now XPaths are of two types, and XPaths what they really are, XPaths are like the address of the element on the web page. Okay, I'll create a new package known as day5. So XPaths are like the address of the element on the web page. Okay, I'll create a new file known as XPaths. So there is one strategy known as XPath. There is other strategy known as CSS selector. We are going to study about both of them, but first I will talk about XPaths. Fine. XPaths or CSS selectors, both they actually are like the address of the element. Fine. And XPaths are of two types: complete XPaths and partial XPaths. Okay, complete XPaths, I will talk about that first. For example, this is the element. I want to build a complete XPath for this. Complete XPaths are based on the tag names. Fine. If you hit Ctrl F, you keep the control on this inspector and you hit Ctrl F, you will see a search bar coming up at the bottom. And you can start building your XPath inside this search bar, and you can validate it at the runtime itself. Okay, see, for example, the starting tag is HTML. Fine. inside HTML I have head and body tag, and inside the body tag somewhere I have this division tag which represents the text. Fine. So if I write over here the first tag in the web page, the root tag, which is HTML, then this tag will be highlighted. If I do some mistake, it won't get highlighted, nothing will get highlighted. Okay, so if I write the tag name, it will get highlighted, and over here it will say 1 of 13. That means somehow there are 13 HTML tags or HTML spellings over here. Okay, but that's fine. Okay, you can start with double slash. Okay, so that will also do, but generally we don't. Okay, you can just write HTML, it will highlight the tag. Under HTML tag you want to go in the body tag, so you write over here /body. Okay, under the body tag we have got two division tags. These division tags are parallel to each other. Okay, these both of the division tags are parallel to each other. Okay, you want to go inside the first division tag. Alright, because we have to reach this particular element, the Facebook text, which is this one. Okay, this is present somewhere under the first division tag. Okay, we want to go inside the first division tag. Fine. So I will write div bracket 1. If you write div bracket 1, that means go inside the first division tag. If I write 2, then it will highlight the second division. If I write 1, it will highlight the first division. Under the first division, you have got 4 parallel divisions rather. This one, this is blank, this and this. Out of these 4 divisions, I want to go inside the third one, because the third division tag will actually lead me there. So I will write /div3. So this is how you build your complete XPaths. You traverse down. Under this you have got again 2 divisions parallel to each other. You want to go inside the first one. So /div bracket 1. Okay, and under that again there is a division. There is just one division. Under that again one division. See that it is traversing, and I can validate it at the runtime. Okay, and then you finally get the division in which you are interested. Okay, this becomes my XPath. Instead of giving division 1 over here, okay, this is my XPath. I will copy it over here, complete XPath. Instead of writing div 1, you can just write div. By default it goes in the first division. Okay, right, even if you write div, by default it goes in the first division. If I paste this XPath, it will also point over here. So we have reached the element after traversing from the root of the document to the element, and that's how complete XPath is made. You don't have to copy this XPath this way, or you don't have to make this XPath this way, the way I did. It's very easy. You can just right click on the element, go to copy full XPath. Okay, and you will get the same thing. Alright, Not the same thing over here. It is showing div1. You can remove one from here. That is not a problem. Yeah. Okay, or you can keep one. It is completely up to you. Right. So we don't actually copy the XPath from. We don't calculate the XPath manually over here. Right. We just actually copy it from Chrome. I made it manually just to make you understand that how this is actually done. Okay, otherwise you just right click on the element, go to copy full XPath. Fine. If I make the code, I will just make the new class known as Facebook with the main function. Fine. And new Chrome driver, and you import everything. Okay, then driver.get, go to the URL facebook.com and driver.find element. By the, you will get the option XPath. Okay, and you can get the text out of this element. Fine. So over here you copy the XPath and you write dot get text. Get text command will find the text from the web element. Fine. You can get the text and you can print it. Okay, so this is what complete XPaths are about. Okay, now there is something known as complete XPath and partial XPath. We don't use complete XPaths. Okay, we don't prefer to use. See, this is the text. We don't prefer to use this complete XPath. The reason being, it is a bit risky to use it if something changes, maybe at a very early stage on the web page. Out here tomorrow a new tag is added by the developer. Then most of the XPaths will change in the application because maybe the new tag is added in the very beginning of the page, at the very root of the page. So we don't prefer to use this XPath, but it is very accurate. Okay, it starts from the root and it goes down to the element. At times, you know what, nothing works. When you try to use the complete XPath starts working. The normal partial XPath, which I am going to talk about right now, they don't work at times. Okay, not very regularly, but very rarely. Okay, and very rarely they don't work. So when we actually use complete instead of partial, it starts working and you realize that fine, over here we should be using complete XPath. But yes, we refrain from using complete XPaths. Okay, now what are partial XPaths? Partial XPaths are something which start from double slash. This is the stop button. You can click on it to terminate. There is a question being asked that what think the Eclipse was before you go. Nothing. I didn't do anything. There is a question being asked that what do you think the Eclipse was doing before you clicked on the stop? Nothing. It just printed the value. Then I just clicked on the stop button.
It's working broken up to runtime. But this time it was like hanging. It took some more time just to finish the runtime.
Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes it does take, because the driver.get function over here Okay, it will keep on executing till the time the complete 100% web page is not loaded. So maybe the
elements in the page.
yeah, all the complete 100% web page, all the elements, everything is not loaded. This thing actually waits for the 100% page load. Okay, Inst instead of this, if you use driver dot navigate dot to and you give the URL, this won't wait. This won't wait for 100% page load. Okay, as soon as it will find the element, it will move forward with it. Okay.
It is something like you did yesterday for the dynamic class that you created.
I will do that. I will do that. Okay,
Would you
this thing, right?
the website on the URL and pass the variable? Can we do that?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Like 940, you put that in a string browser, right?
Yes, yes. I will come over to this. Okay, let me just complete with XPaths, then I will come over to that. Dynamic. Okay, yeah, thank you. So,
Sorry for the interruption.
no problems, right? So, driver.get command will wait for 100% page load, but driver.navigate.to it won't wait for 100% page load. Okay, there are two different ways. Fine. Now, partial XPath will always start with double slash. Okay, for example, double slash star. This represents all the elements on a web page. If I copy this and paste it, so it will say 1 out of 715. So that means there are 715 elements on the web page. Okay, right, and you can keep on clicking the down arrow, they will be highlighted one by one, down and up. Fine. And instead of star, if I give the tag name like double slash a, anchor tag, this was the tag name for all the links. All the links on the web page, like you have forgot password link, all the links have the anchor tag a. Okay, so this will represent all the links on the web page. Okay, I can copy this, paste it. You see that? It's highlighting all the anchor tags. Okay, all the anchor tags will be highlighted on the web page. Okay, and suppose this is my first name field. This is the HTML code for it. If I right click on it and go to copy XPath instead of copy full XPath, copy XPath will give me the partial XPath. Okay, I can paste this over here. This is the partial XPath. Okay, instead of double quotes, you put a single quote. That's it. Now, what is this? Double slash star means out of all the elements on the web page, get me the element whose ID is this. Okay, double slash star means all the elements on the web page. So out of all the elements, get the element with ID this. Or you can make it more precise. The tag name for this text field is input. Okay, you can write it double slash. Instead of star, you can put input. Okay, out of all the tag names, that is input tag names on the web page, you get the input tag whose ID is this, right? So you hit Ctrl F, you paste the XPath, and this will highlight this element. Okay, So you can actually use this in the code as well. Fine, you get the text and then you write driver dot find element by the XPath, this XPath dot send keys hello. So this will go and type in hello inside this particular text field. Okay, so partial XPath, it starts with a double slash. Fine, just a minute. You see that it prints hello. Is my voice breaking? Is it breaking? I don't know. Sushma, just check your internet. Okay. So out here you see that it goes and prints hello. Fine. Now the thing is, not every time you will get simple partial XPaths like this. Okay, look, this was the input tag which had an unique ID, so the partial XPath just started with ID and it just gave you the simplest form of partial XPath. Okay, if I go to, say, let's open up another website like cnn.com. Fine. Over here, if I right click on health and inspect the element, then this is the link, health link. If I right click on it, it's got no ID. Okay. If I right click on it, copy the XPath and paste it inside Eclipse, I get the XPath like this. Okay, now how is this XPath calculated? Fine, you have to understand the page traversing over here. Okay, this is a link, just a minute. This is a link. This link is having no ID. Okay, and the XPath which we get is this XPath. I'll paste the XPath in Chrome. Fine. So what happens is that the last character anchor tag A is over here. This anchor tag A is inside this li tag. Okay, and this li tag also has got no ID. Okay, this is the fourth li tag, li4, under this ul tag. Okay, and this ul tag has also not got any ID. You will see the ul tag in the XPath as well. So it goes to one tag above ul tag, which is the nav tag, and you will see the nav tag in the XPath itself. Okay, this nav tag also has got no ID. Alright, so it will keep on traversing, jumping one tag above, okay, till the time it finds the tag which has an ID, and this is the tag which has an ID. Okay, div header container, this is the one. Okay, and it starts building the XPath from this element, that there is an element whose ID is header nav container. Okay, under that there is a division tag which is this one. Under that again a division. So it keeps on traversing this way and reaches the element. So instead of traversing from the root of the document, fine, it traverses somewhere from between from an element which has an ID. Okay, and it builds the partial XPath in this way. I hope you got my point. Fine. So I will copy this XPath. Yeah, I've already pasted over here. That's not a problem. Right. Now, in the XPaths which we retrieve, you replace the double quotes with the single quote. Okay. In order to make the XPaths unique, it finds the nearest element which has an ID. Right, not every time you will get XPaths as simple as these ones. Fine. Similarly, like if I go and investigate this headlines, these are the headlines, H2 tag. If I right click, copy the XPath, I will get the XPath like this. So this is also, this is the H2 tag which is lying somewhere inside this particular division which has this ID. Fine. Now, if I look at this, say Facebook, Facebook is written over here. Okay. If I investigate this, this is a text actually. It's not an image. It's a text. It can be selected over here. Okay. If I right click on this element and I go to copy XPath, partial XPath, what I get is in this kind of XPath. Okay, it gives me the XPath from this particular division which has an ID. Okay, but there is a catch over here. Fine. If I go to a website like say in.rediff.com, over here this is the image rediff.com. If I look at this image is something, or if I go to the sign in page, right, this image over here, this image is somewhere inside this div tag, right. If I copy this XPath and I look at it, then it gives me a complete XPath. Okay, it gives me a complete XPath. Why? Because what it does is that it traverses the complete hierarchy. Just a minute. It keeps on traversing from one tag to the other tag till the HTML tag, and it finds no element which has an ID. Okay, so this also becomes a situation or one of the outcomes that you don't get any tag which has an ID. Alright, so
Does it have to be an ID?
yeah, it has to be ID. For Chrome Inspector, it has to be ID because IDs are supposed to be unique. So since it finds no element with any ID, it gives you the complete XPath. Okay, but it's not that you should actually be considering ID to build the XPaths. Okay, Chrome as a tool or Chrome as a browser, it depends on, you know, IDs of the element, okay, to build the XPaths. Alright, but there is also something known as custom XPaths which can be built, right, which can be built without the dependency of ID or something. Okay, I'll come over to that. Fine. Over here, customized XPaths. Fine. How do we build those customized XPaths, and what do we do in case of variable IDs and all? I'm going to talk about this now. Look, if I have, say, this username field, this username field over here has got this ID login1. If I copy the XPath for this element, fine, I will get this XPath, that /* an element whose ID is login1. Fine. If I want, I can build the XPath based on some other attribute like name as well. Chrome Inspector will not build it based on name, but you yourself can build it. You can write over here / input whose name is login. Okay. Right, so you can use the name parameter, but it should be unique. Fine. To check if this is unique, you can copy this XPath. You can paste it over here in Chrome Inspector. It says 1 of 1 element and it highlights the element. That means we are good. That means this XPath is actually pointing to this element. Fine. So you can build the XPath based on some other parameter. Fine. Now, for example, if I go to, say, flipkart.com. Okay. And over here, I click on the login link. Fine. If I look at this enter email stuff, fine. Then, just a minute. Okay. Then, out here, you see this is a division which is under a form. Okay, and then there is an input button over here. If I want to build the XPath for this input button, fine, then there is, input element, then there is no particular ID. Okay, if I copy the XPath and see what kind of XPath does Chrome give me. Chrome gives me the complete XPath. This is because there is no element between the input tag and the HTML tag which has an ID. There is no ID on this web page. Okay, this is not a pop-up. This is known as a light box. It's the part of the same page. Don't think that it's a separate thing. Alright. Now, this input tag has a class, this particular class. If I build the XPath on this class, if I write over here input whose class is this. Okay, you have to be very careful about class because class is not unique for an element. There can be multiple elements in the page which can have same class. Okay, so when I test it, fortunately I just get one element. So that means I can have this particular XPath. But if you are building XPath based on the class, then you have to actually verify whether it is pointing uniquely to the element or not, because using class is a little bit riskier thing. If I go to Flipkart and if I go to say t-shirts section, I will have number of products over here. If I investigate say this particular product and I look at the price 189, this price tag has got this particular class. It's a division tag with this class. I hit Ctrl F, make the XPath that there is a division tag with this particular value. So what I get is class. What I get is I get the element highlighted, but there are 40 such elements on the web page with the same class. All the price tags, you see that they are getting highlighted. They have the same class. So if you want to extract all the 40 elements, you can use this XPath. But if you want to get just the first one, or an XPath which uniquely points towards the first one, then this class attribute will not help you over there. Okay, because class is not unique. Generally elements with the same look and feel have the same class on the web page. Okay, coming back to this example. Okay, as I told you, we were very lucky that we found the class attribute. What if the class was not unique for this input tag? Okay, what would you do? This input tag is inside this division tag. Okay, whenever you are stuck in a situation where you are not able to uniquely identify any element, then you move one tag above. One tag above, this is a division with this particular class. Under this division we have the input tag. Okay, so you start building the XPath from this particular division with this particular class. You write /div with class equals to this, and under this we have the input tag, okay, which represents the username, so /input. But this represents one out of two elements. This is not a unique XPath. If you look at this, then on this page there are two such divisions. One division is this, other division is this. Both of them have the same class, and under both of the divisions you have the input tag. Basically the first division represents the username field, the second division represents the password field. Okay, under both the divisions you have the input tags, so you don't end up building a unique XPath. In this case we again move to one tag above the tag of from where we started to build the XPath. This division tag is inside this form tag, which has a parameter known as autocomplete to on. Okay, so we write over here, there is a form tag who has the parameter, which has got the parameter autocomplete to on. So it uniquely comes to this form tag, 1 out of 1. There is just one form on the page which has the autocomplete set to on. Under this you have two divisions with the same class, and rather 5 divisions parallelly. You want to go inside the first division because that holds the username field. Okay, so you can write div, you can write bracket 1/input. So this is 1 out of 1. This actually uniquely identifies my element. Okay, right. And if I wanted to go inside the password field, then I would have to go inside the second division, div 2. I hope you are getting my point. Fine. So if you write div 1, then you go in the first division, div 2, then you go in the second division which holds the password field. Alright. So you can build your XPaths like this as well in case of Flipkart. But yes, if again I repeat, if your XPath is based on class, you have to be very careful. Fine. Now, as we saw different things, okay, there is one thing which is clear, that one element can have different XPaths. For example, for the username field, I made this XPath, also this particular XPath. Okay, both these XPaths, they represent the username field. I can make more XPaths. Okay, I can make the complete XPath as well. Okay, one element can have different XPaths, and different elements can have one XPath as well. Okay, the perfect example was we saw this Flipkart. We made this XPath which represented all the prices on the web page. Okay, right. So this XPath over here perfectly demonstrates that different elements can have the same XPath, can have one XPath. Fine. So it is completely up to you. How do you build your customized XPaths? Fine. At times what happens is that you can build the XPaths based on text. Okay, for example, you have to click on this cart link. You see the cart over here, right? You have to click on this. This is a span tag. If I calculate the XPath from the regular Chrome, I get the XPath like this. I can use this one, or I can simply make the XPath based on the text of this element. That is, it under a span tag, I can write span whose text is equal to cart. Okay, this is very important thing. It is used a lot. Okay, I can copy this, paste it, it will highlight the cart. Okay, I hope you have got my point. Yeah, no, you don't have to write @text. This is a JavaScript function internal. You have to write text equals to. This way we have to do it. Okay, like this is very helpful. Like for example, if you are on a website like this, where you have to say select a date from the calendar. Okay, and you know the date can come up from an Excel file. You have to select a dynamic day, maybe 21st, maybe 28th, maybe 25th. So how do you do that? If you look at these dates like 25 or any other date, every date is written inside a division. Okay, so what you can do is that you can write over here that there is a division whose text is equal to 25. So you can just keep this 25 in a variable and keep on replacing it in the program. So you can dynamically select a date. We will see calendar. In the coming classes we will see how to manage a calendar dynamically. How can we select a date from future or past dynamically. Okay, so we will use the logic over there. Okay, so you see that it highlights the 25th date. Fine. Okay, now at times you have got variable IDs or other parameters in the website. Okay, like for example, if you log in into Gmail and try to automate Gmail, or if you log in into Facebook, after logging into Facebook you will realize that the IDs are changing. What do you mean by IDs are changing? If I calculate the XPath today and it's got some ID, you close the browser, you open the browser again, the ID changes. Okay, or in some websites what happens is that the IDs they change after every 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay, so if the IDs are completely changing, okay, if the IDs are changing, then the XPaths will not work. Okay, I don't have an example right now. I don't want to log in into Facebook or Gmail right now, but I know that this happens. That you get this ID today, suppose tomorrow you might get some other ID. How do you manage that? Okay, it depends. Sometimes what happens is that the initial part of the ID remains constant, the ending part of the ID changes. This is a very rare scenario. It doesn't happen very regularly. Okay, sometimes the initial part of the ID remains same, the ending part remains same, the initial part is varying. Sometimes the initial part varies, the middle portion of the ID remains same, the ending part varies. And sometimes the complete ID varies. So if you calculate the ID, you close the browser, you open the browser again, and you see that the ID changes. So these are the 4 ways in which generally the patterns appear. Okay, sometimes the initial part changes, sometimes is constant, sometimes the ending part is constant, sometimes the middle part is constant, and sometimes nothing is constant. Okay, to manage this, there are 2 JavaScript functions which we use, starts with and contains. Okay, for example, for this particular ID you can write something like // suppose it's a division. Okay, division whose ID starts with, and you can give the constant part. Okay, right, sorry. So you build the XPath like this. If the ending part is varying, you can build the XPath like this. Instead of starts with, you can use contains. For the middle part also, there is nothing known as ends with. Okay, contains can also be used over here. Okay, for the last option there is no other alternative other than using the same trick which I told you, that if the ID of this text field is varying completely, suppose it had an ID which was varying completely, then I would have started building my XPath from one tag above, which is stable enough. So if the ID is completely varying, you move to one tag above the element, and if that also not works, you start moving one tag above and above. You keep on traversing above. Okay, so you move one tag above and you start building the XPath from there. Okay, earlier, I used to show this example. It was very easy on yahoo.com. On Yahoo the IDs were all varying, but now they have changed the code and all, so it's not varying. Okay, but yes, that's fine. Okay, why do websites do this? Websites do this so that they can prevent the automation tools and the bots from coming and collecting the information. Okay, so that's the reason. Fine, but this is a very rare scenario. Okay, so whatever I taught you today will be used a lot in the entire training. Whether we study CSS selector, which we'll study later on, or XPath, the general knack of this, the way we extract the elements, the way we build custom XPaths, okay, this will help you in the complete course. Okay, so please study this carefully. Try to build some programs based on this. Okay, I'll start giving you exercises another 1 or 2 days. Alright, so